Well, I've been plagued by sleep apnea. It turns out it was sleep apnea. For me, I just had a problem with insomnia. And it turned out from a sleep clinic I was diagnosed as having sleep apnea. And I went to, after trying many different things, I went to a sleep apnea dentist who made a sort of contraption to keep my mouth opened and to keep the pipes free. And I was very uncomfortable and unhappy with that appliance. So I asked the dentist, are there any exercises I can do? And he told me that playing the didgeridoo wasn't possible. Strengthens the muscles, and it could help my sleep apnea. So I was definitely desperate, and this dentist told me about AJ, and I purchased a didgeridoo from AJ, etc. And very quickly I found I was sleeping much better. Now, I was on sleep medication. I was on sort of a high dosage, or the normal dosage of Klonopin, 1 milligram. And that was helping for a while. But now, long story short, I'm sleeping much better. I've cut down from 1 milligram to 0.25 milligrams of the relaxant sleep medication. I'm sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day. Major change. I'm no longer sleep deprived. Most nights I get a full night's sleep. And of course I'm thrilled playing the didgeridoo. It's very relaxing, very good for me. The change was that I realized shortly that I was getting full night's sleep. It sort of came on gradually over a couple of weeks, really. It was rather quick. I think within 3 weeks I found I was sleeping better and getting good night's sleeps. Yeah, I say it was a little less than a month after I started taking lessons that I started noticing I'm getting a full night's sleep. And I was just thrilled with that. That feeling of having a full night's sleep and waking up with a good night's sleep behind me, that was a great rarity in my life. Very few nights I had that. And now it's much more of a regular occurrence. It's usual. Well, there are exercises and the techniques that I've seen that you showed me playing is really an exercise in itself also. I enjoy the experience of breathing correctly, and I enjoy the sound of the didgeridoo, and it's sort of an energy that comes back to me that's relaxing. If things are troubling my mind, it's very easy for me to just focus on the didgeridoo as sort of a meditation, sound of the didgeridoo. And I try to experiment and make sounds that are agreeable to me, that I enjoy, that are interesting to me, and it focuses my mind. So it's always a good experience, rejuvenating, relaxing. One of the reasons I became very concerned about sleep apnea, this was 6 months ago or so, is that a friend told me that I was making very strange sounds while I was sleeping. Just I was just horrendous, the imitation I was hearing, and I became very concerned then. And that's actually why I started pursuing this sleep apnea. I had already been diagnosed with it, but I was sort of ignoring it. But when I heard that I was like gasping and making these gross sounds while I was sleeping, that made me realize this is something serious I have to look into. And so, pleased to report that I no longer make those sounds. My breathing when I'm sleeping is normal. That's the anecdotal report of someone who's heard me sleep. The only real difference that I can detect is the playing the didgeridoo. I've always exercised, I've always eaten good food, I've always taken care of myself. The only significant change that I can point to is playing the didgeridoo. Well, I usually get to practice about 5 days a week, and I'd say I practice about half an hour a day, generally. Well, it was just had been to a sleep clinic just a few weeks before I called you, AJ, because I was so concerned, well, of course, about this terrible snoring problem I evidently was having, according to reports. Oh yeah, the sleep was that I had moderate sleep apnea, and it was very significant. And that diagnosis, in conjunction with the report about how I was breathing so terribly, gasping for breath in my sleep, had me very concerned. So I very quickly contacted you after the dental sleep doctor told me about you. He told me that. Well, I asked him, because I was so dissatisfied with the contraption he made, I asked him if there are any exercises that I can do to strengthen my muscles that were weakened, which was the cause of the sleep apnea. And he told me about you, and so I pursued that. Well, I have yet to master that skill of circular breathing, and I had the improvement in my sleeping, the great improvement in my sleeping, before I mastered circular breathing. So it seems like it started fairly close to the very beginning of my practice.